Please be advised that everything in my video is purely for entertainment purposes. These are purely my thoughts and opinions and are subjective. I must advise you to please do your own research. All media users found on the public domain and are fair use and fair dealings.
Hiya guys, hope you're all doing well. So I have got to start off my video with not a rant but a little bit of, I'm just going to throw it out there. At the end of my last video, you guys, I have loads of comments and stuff on there, and someone, you know, had the cheek to comment saying, I really like your videos, but can you just not talk about you? I find it really boring that you share anything to do with your personal life. I come to watch you because I want to hear about the royals. I thought, what? Excuse me? My channel and lots of people like talking to me about everything that I do in my life. So I thought to myself, you rude mare. So I'm going to start off this video just to wheedle out if there's any others of you, and I'm going to tell you how I started off my day. Do you know, I got up very early for me. I got up at 6:30. I took my dog, I drove her to the beach. I went for a run along the beach. It was deserted. The tide was all the way out. It was absolutely glorious. When I came back, I finished planting some of, I've bought a few extra plants to go in my front garden. I'm slowly working my way down the levels. What else did I do? I had a shower, I washed my hair, I put a pink rinse through my hair. I did some laundry, and my bed sheets are hanging up on my line. So if any of you have decided that that was too much for you, you can either log off my channel or you can skip. It amazes me sometimes how rude people can be. It's like, if you don't like what someone's talking about in the video, just skip. You don't actually write to that YouTube creator and say, I don't like your hair, I don't like you talking about yourself, I hate your lipstick. It really, not so much annoys me, but I just thought, how rude are some people? So anyway, speaking of rude, oh, there's been so much going on. I literally, you know, when I told you I kind of like some stories that made me go, what? This is one of those what moments. The latest story out from Meghan's camp is Meghan feels that she was conspired against from the beginning. I didn't know whether to laugh, to spit my tea across the room. I was like, you are literally having a bubble. You've got to be having a laugh. I'm just going to try and wrap this up and start from the beginning without going over all of my old sort of info that I've done in other videos. But one of the things, for example, Meghan begged when she broke up with Trevor, or she was still with Corey. We all know that she doesn't exactly stay faithful. She came over to the UK a few times, and she was seen on a red carpet event with a male model. It was apparently just to try and set tongues wagging. Her agent was getting in touch with absolutely anyone and everyone, begging people to interview her because she was trying to get into the UK scene. She befriended herself with Millie McIntosh, although it was very short-lived. She'd hoped, and there was rumours that she was going to try and get herself on reality TV. Kate Hind drew the short straw and ended up interviewing her in Soho House in London. Shocker there, Soho House. And she basically said that Meghan was very, very good at wanting to put herself out there. She is not put off at all. Yeah, no kidding. And she was going to go on a date with Ashley Cole. Meghan fancied herself being a bit of a wag. Maybe that lifestyle would have suited her a little bit better. Although the kind of wag culture, that is a bit 90s now. We're kind of over that, aren't we? Footballers' wives. Although I'd love to see a good footballer's wife scrap again. So we know that she chased and flirted with Piers Morgan. We know that's been an ongoing thing. He was very hurt when she just all of a sudden dropped him when she got her claws into Harry. But this is a woman that was trying to get herself in the newspapers, in the tabloids, doing everything. She turned up to a film premiere that she wasn't, you know, actually in the film. And here we have, a few years later, Tom Bradby interview. Well, I'll let you listen to it for yourself.
When I first met my now husband, my friends were really happy because I was so happy. But my British friends said to me, I'm sure he's great, but you shouldn't do it because the British tabloids will destroy your life. And I very naively, I'm American, we don't have that there. What are you talking about? That doesn't make any sense. I'm not in tabloids. I didn't get it. So it's, yeah, it's been complicated.
I call bullshit. Sorry, I do call bullshit, and that's some of the worst acting I've seen in my life. My friends in England, my friends in the UK. You don't have any friends in the UK. You barely have any friends in the US and Canada because you're so mean to everybody. We had another article come out saying that Meghan's B-list Hollywood career didn't prepare her for being the most famous woman in the world. Oh, let me dissect that one for a minute. B-list, well, that's being a bit too favourable, isn't it? Do we go D-list or Z-list? I'll let you guys make up your minds. Being prepared to be the most famous woman in the world. More infamous for her bad behaviour. Meghan is more famous worldwide for negativity, not for positive things. She didn't have a Hollywood career, and the problem is with Meghan, and I'll throw it out there, I said it before, you guys all know it, say it with me, just so I'm going to say it one more time for people at the back. Meghan did not want to join the monarchy because the monarchy is a 1,000-year-old institution where they are public servants. They do get a luxurious lifestyle, do not get me wrong, but they're there to serve the Queen. They're there to, well, basically Harry and Meghan's role would have been to support Catherine and William. It would have been taking a back seat. It would be very much like what Sophie and Edward do. They do lots of stuff. You know, I get really irritated that Sophie doesn't get a lot of coverage, but they would have been part of a slick-oiled machine to keep the royal family moving. Meghan was never going to take the back seat. That's what caused the problems. She was never going to follow protocols and rules. That's why, have any of you guys ever noticed that when she was in Suits, her hair, immaculate. It was gorgeous. I don't know whether it's weaves or whether it's wigs. That's not meant to be offensive to anyone, but her hair was always just, she just looked polished. Whether you liked her outfit choices or nights out, she looked polished. As soon as she became a member of the royal family, despite obviously spending millions of pounds on clothes, she always looked like she'd come out of a bush backwards half the time with her hair. And I believe she did it all on purpose because she didn't follow protocols, she didn't wear tights, she wore coloured nail polish, she did all of these things because she knew it would attract negative attention. And then she could go, oh, I'm being bullied, I'm so nasty to me, what is it that I'm doing wrong? I mean, it's come out in the news as well this week that one of the reasons to do with Catherine, I don't know if it was the same reason why Catherine cried at the wedding dress rehearsals, was there was an argument over the bridesmaids wearing tights. It said that it was a hot day and Catherine, knowing protocols, obviously being part of the royal family and producing, you know, 3 members of the royal family herself, being the future queen, had said that it looks better, you know, the queen would prefer it for the little girls to wear tights. I mean, we're not talking heavily knitted thick tights, but Meghan refused. And when you look at the pictures, the little girls aren't even wearing little cute ankle socks. It does look odd just wearing dresses, you know, just with shoes like that. But again, this is Meghan from the very beginning. She always was going to do it her way. She has not taken advice. She never wanted to take advice. They now keep bringing up that Harry always wanted to leave the royal family, right? He's always wanted to leave and Meghan gave him that out. Well, if he's always wanted to leave it, why did he agree to do the huge, ridiculous wedding? Why did he agree for Meghan and Harry to become full-time working members of the royal family? Why did he take the dukedom? Why did he take the titles? If Harry had always wanted to leave, why didn't he say to Meghan, let's leave, you know, we can have a quiet wedding and you and I can go off and go do our own thing? Because she wanted the titles. She tricked the Queen, she lied to the Queen. I don't know how far Harry was involved in it. We all know that the Queen offered them a life without them taking titles, without being full-time working members of the royal family. So for Harry, he knows the strict protocols. He would have known everything that Meghan would have had to go through. It's not like Meghan was literally just thrown from day one, right, you've got to be a duchess, you've got to know what to do. She would have received help from everyone, you know, advice from people, but she's always ignored the advice. Meghan's carving out her own path and Meghan's choosing to do it her way. That to me is just someone that is not going to take instruction. So you've got to think with Meghan's mantra, if you can't give it 5 minutes, you can't give it 5 years, kind of fridge magnet philosophies that she's come out with. You know, after 2 years, less than 2 years, they decided that they didn't want it and they wanted to go back to LA. Bearing in mind she spent the last decade living in Canada, but they didn't just want to leave the royal family. They wanted to leave the royal family with all of the trimmings. It came out originally they wanted to set up their own court. The Queen said no. So what do you think they've done now? This was the whole thing. They were going to just go pack up. Megxit was a big thing. They were going to set up their own US royal celebrity court in America, and the Queen basically put the kind of stoppers on that when she said you can't use the word royal, which obviously caused a mega narcissistic temper tantrum. Meghan angry typing, the Queen does not own the word royal. Well, love, you might have a few problems trying to disprove that one. So now coming out out thick and fast in the newspapers are stories about how Meghan was conspired against from the very beginning. Does this sound familiar to anyone? You know, let's talk about Diana's playbook maybe. It's like she's reading a script really from Diana's life story. Do you remember Diana, where she was discussing about she rebelled against the men in grey? Diana believed that she was being spied on. It's all Meghan playing this whole like she's Diana. They're now so under risk that they've got drones that could be coming down, and it's this really serious high security. They put reports in with the police about 5 separate incidents where the drones have come over so low, and they know deep down that they're probably just taking photographs, but this could be a serious terror attack. It could be a threat. Yes, because the drones could have little mini machine guns on them. Show me the receipts. Where are the photographs? If these drones, we saw the ones of Harry, are all coming over and taking pictures of them playing innocently with Archie in the garden, come on, someone would have sold the pictures. It's all BS. So back to Meghan's story about being conspired against from the very beginning. She's talking about the aides conspired against her. How offensive. Edward Lane Fox, right, he was friends with Harry as well as being, I guess, his PR saviour. His wife, Amy Pickerel, she became Meghan's right-hand woman. She quit. Okay, admittedly they moved away, but I'm pretty sure there could have been some surrounding circumstances due to Meghan's behaviour. They then got Samantha Cohen. Samantha the Panther, she'd worked for the royal family, including directly for the Queen, for something like best part of 20 years. She quit. We have Melissa Tubati, who had worked for Robbie Williams and a few other famous people. I mean, you can imagine Robbie Williams is a bit of a male diva. And she quit. I think she barely lasted a year because Meghan was so horrible to her that it was reported that she'd left in tears. And I have read, and I do believe it's true, that it was for the first time, the palace doesn't normally do this, they gave her a glowing reference. And I think the palace were weighing it up going, we'll give you a glowing reference, please do not sue. Because from what I understand, if she'd been in tears and Meghan's been screaming and shouting at her, she had every damn right to sue her former employers for bullying. Staff quit left, right and centre. Can you imagine having any sort of job working for the royal family? That is CV, curriculum vitae or resume, whatever you call it in the country, that you are gold. You work for the royal family. Who's not going to want to employ you? But there they were. 1, 2, 3, out the door. As soon as anyone spent any time working with Meghan, bosh, bye, see you later. I don't care what anyone says. I believe that the Queen and the whole royal family tried to make the transition for Meghan as smooth as possible. It's actually been reported as well, as I said, all these reports coming out in the newspapers this week. Something like $53 million, £44 million of taxpayers' money has been spent on this couple. They were full-time working royals, and that's a loose term. 2 years, less than 2 years. Now, discount maternity leave, being on holiday, having stress breaks, in Canada, going on, obviously, they had the tour of Australasia, and then they had the tour, they went over to Morocco, then they had the South Africa tour. How can we forget that one? So when you actually think about the amount of work they did, how William and Catherine are really struggling under the pressure at the moment to pick up the workload, that Meghan and Harry left behind. So who is conspiring against Meghan? When you think about it, it's Meghan's old friends conspiring against her, isn't it? It's her best friend Ninaki or Niniki. Then it's, Meghan's ex-partners, Meghan's ex-boyfriends. It's people that are trying to get their 5 minutes claim to fame. They're all conspiring against her. Then it's Meghan's family are conspiring against her, aren't they? All of them, not just obviously the Markles, the Raglans, all of them. Anyone that dares sell a picture or says a story or even discusses her, they're selling her down the river. They're all conspiring against her. Then Harry's family are conspiring against her. Gosh, not just 1 or 2 of them, all of them. William, Catherine, they've all had it in from Meghan from the very beginning. Now it's the staff, it's the aides, everyone's conspiring against Meghan. Can you see the problem we have here? Can you not see the issue here? Everyone's conspiring against Meghan. Get the girl a mirror, get her a serious psychiatrist, sit her in front of that mirror and lock her in that room with that psychiatrist for several years. She just can't, and it's a typical narcissistic trait, psychopath, sociopath, whichever you wish to call Meghan. I'm still unsure which level she's on, but she can never see any wrong in what she does. I think she's clever. I think she's calculated. I wonder if her being locked up in LA and all of this turning, it's crumbling around them, they're literally drowning in a sea of their own sorrow and pity and their own doing, that Meghan's literally going bonkers. She is literally throwing out the Diana cards coming out again, that they're under risk, they're under threats, you know, drones are going to come over. I just don't know why, just little drones with little machine guns. It's like someone playing a computer game. I mean, it's getting absolutely ridiculous. Every single day though, oh my gosh, the bombardment, and it reeks of utter desperation. This huge move that they did to LA, can you really think, all right, Harry reportedly has always wanted to leave the royal family. Can you honestly see Harry, out of all the places that he would pick, his love of Africa and everything, he'd pick LA, right, to move to? I don't think so. Now, following on from these mass onslaught of stories that we've had, one of the ones actually really did push my buttons, because I think it's disgusting even for Meghan to be pushing this one out there, although I'm not that shocked. Now, reportedly, they have been involved in a car chase, and I kid you not, right? LA, I've been told by lots of people on Twitter and stuff that in LA, police are very strict on sort of driving speed limits and things like that, that this wouldn't happen, that they do actually have strict laws against photographers from doing stuff like this for obvious reasons. But I'll read it to you. They were out driving last month in LA and were noticed by paparazzi. They were tailed, followed and chased by two cars which were being driven erratically. The photographer's car nearly caused a T-bone crash. It was incredibly dangerous, shocking and scary. It's just the whole Diana stuff again, isn't it? How can you even be manipulating that story, what happened to Diana in the tunnel, to kind of push your narrative of what are they up to now? What, they want more security? Is this with the drones with the little guns coming over and now they're being chased erratically by paparazzi around the streets of LA? Is this them trying to get Trump to actually give them more money? Well, he's not giving them any money, but you know what I mean, to pay for this plea of there being internationally protected people. Because there's another story has come out, and as I said, I'm getting kind of bored of saying another story, but there has been literally so many, my head's been poof. Charles has reportedly been covering the cost of Frogmore payments so they can pay their security, or it's the other way around. Basically, they don't have enough to repay back Frogmore, but and pay for their own security out there. So I think, as I said, this whole drone thing, them being chased, it's them trying to play a game. Meghan probably trying to play a game, because as I said, I just can't see Harry being smart enough to devise all these cunning little plans. But it's just to get money, isn't it? Or worse, it's to get them to come back to the UK and for us to feel sorry for them. It's funny though when you think about it. Everything to do with this couple is it's basically a conspiracy. There's something, isn't there? There's always something. Nothing is ever straightforward with them, with Archie's birth, with pregnancy, with how Meghan and Harry met, how they dated, how and when did she cheat on Corey to be with him. You couldn't believe a single thing that they say. This is why Omid and Carolyn's book, you might as well read Beano or Dandy, which is a comic book in the UK for you guys in the States. You know, it's just going to be made up load of and that's about as intelligent as my description of that book is going to be. Now I'm going to finish this video with a riddle me this. So Meghan thinks that she's being conspired against, right? So listen to this. Meghan dates Harry. Meghan gets harassed in Toronto. She tells Harry that people have tried to break into her home. The police are called. Police also confirmed that no break-in or evidence was ever found, right? Number one. So then Meghan quickly moves in with Harry to the Cotswolds bolt hole, if you remember. So then what happens is the cover gets blown. Splash News find out where they live and they send in drones again. I don't know why I keep doing this. Drones, it's my little thing. Drones came down and they took pictures and invaded the couple's privacy and, you know, obviously caused safety issues for them. So Harry had to protect Meghan. So they moved into Kensington. This is all very quick as well. Moved into Nottingham Cottage inside Kensington grounds. Then obviously Meghan gets pregnant rather quickly after the wedding, before the wedding, or whoever, not going there. And they then get told that they're going to move in next door to William and Catherine in Kensington Palace. I think it's like apartment 1A, 1B. That doesn't actually happen. People have said, sources have said, again, it's that finger. What am I doing? It's since I've cut my finger. It's just... So anyway, sources have said that Meghan didn't want to live that close. She didn't want to be in a fishbowl, blah, 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 blah. She chose Frogmore. I don't think she did. The Queen might have said Frogmore and she thought, oh, Frogmore House. That would be exciting. Turns out, no, it wasn't. It was the cottages. Then after barely living in Frogmore Cottages, they needed a break. They needed to escape. They wanted to be alone. So they moved to Canada. And then they stayed in Canada because that's where they were going to settle. It was Meghan's home for 10 years of her life. Archie will grow up in the beauty of the countryside, plus all of her old Toronto friends. Turned out bullshit. So then I hightailed it out, and now in LA, in the Beverly Hills area. But they're smack bang in paparazzi central. So on top of all of this, and Meghan, as we all know, and it's all been publicised, Meghan kept a diary from the word go, from her first day of being in the royal family. Meghan kept a diary and she kept notes. This is part of the reason why they said that she wasn't allowed to move into the Kensington Palace. She's been caught eavesdropping, taking photographs, making notes. I find it all highly believable. So Meghan had always wanted to be a rich, successful Hollywood actress, and she wanted to live in the Beverly Ridge estates. She wanted all of that access and all of that fame, but she just wasn't good enough to make it. She wasn't a good enough actress. But 3 years after meeting Harry, however, she's now very rich. She's now living in an $18 million mansion in the Beverly Ridge estates. She has got a diary to sell, a book coming out, and obviously jewellery, $1 million clothes, and various other bits and bobs that she took from her very brief time in the royal family. So you tell me, guys, as I said, riddle me this. Do you think people have been conspiring against Meghan, or do you think that Meghan conspired against everyone else, including us? I'll leave that little thought with you, and I will be back with you very soon. Take care, guys. Bye.
If you like my video, please remember to like and subscribe. Please, angry typists, you will be blocked, so save your fingers the time. If you would like to buy me a coffee, please go to my About page and click the link. Love, Taz.